Up everybody, it's your boy Ryan, and this is another Nootropics 20. Stuff that I want to talk about promotion-wise today is, number one, the Cortex stack, as usual, as always. Powerful pre-made stack. Look, if you just want a stack that does everything, mental energy, motivation, verbal fluency, mood, productive drive, go buy a bottle of Cortex right now. If you need my help in formulating stacks, we have a very simple one-off consult. It's sort of just for folks that don't want to spend a whole lot of money and kind of just want some basic stacks suggested to them, and then working with me via email to formulate those stacks or to perfect those stacks. That's the first consult. Next level up is for business folks. Look, if you're a serious business person, entrepreneur, business owner, corporate person, executive, that needs sustained brain performance for long periods of time, and to work with a professional that's been doing this over a decade to help you to formulate stacks that are going to work perfectly for you, and for us even to ship them to you in the beginning stages of the time frame of the consulting. We've got two packages. One is a 3.5 month package. The next is a 6 month package. If you're a business person and really have the budget and want to take your brain to the next level and get everything under control and really function good, go for the 6 month package. And now on to the special of the week. All right, the special of the week. We're going to start doing that now. Really quickly, is the Nootropics Masterclass. You now have a $50 discount on the Nootropics Masterclass, a $50 coupon for the Nootropics Masterclass. That is a video course that teaches you a lot about stack formulation, inducing certain states on cue, and everything else in between. The coupon code is 69 at livecortex.com. Get you the Nootropics Masterclass, $50 off. That is the special of the week. Last thing, if you're two last things. If you're a dude that needs to raise testosterone, Viking Testosterone Protocol, we have a service for that. Lastly, if you're someone coming off of SSRIs or benzos and you're off of them, but your brain isn't functioning correctly because you're in that state where a bunch of receptor sites are messed up, we actually know how to, and we're working with people and doing recovery on those receptor sites and get your brain and life back. It's called Jumpstart Recovery. Get it at livecortex.com. All right, into the Nootropics 20. So I got 14 major questions, points, experiments that people have done that I want to run through here. So get ready for a bunch of useful content. Number one, why does Aniracetam make me more anxious? Interesting question, right? Well, Aniracetam is an AMPA receptor modifier and a cholinergic pathway enhancer. So essentially what it's going to do is stimulate glutamate and stimulate LTP, long-term potentiation, which is going to facilitate memory. Also going to make your hippocampus work a lot better, which will facilitate memory. But it's also energizing in a way which kind of gets your brain like ready to do work and sort of motivated to do work. Usually people get, because of that, an anxiolytic response. They just I guess, feel calmer because their brain is working better. This is the opposite. Person's getting anxious from Aniracetam. Why would that happen? Well, first thing I would say is that probably you've got some sort of neurotransmitter receptor derangement elsewhere, which is causing Aniracetam to not work for you the way that it works for other people. And for the record, that's what it's like with most nootropics that don't work the way that they're supposed to or that they do for other people. You've got some neurotransmitter issues, and a lot of people do. Usually it's from taking medications over time that fuss with brain chemistry. So yeah, you'll see people that have massive GABAergic and serotonergic issues take theanine and have like some sort of weird bad response, right? Just because serotonin systems are jacked up, GABA systems are jacked up, doesn't do what it's supposed to do. I once took Aniracetam for 40 days straight, and in the latter part of that experiment, I started waking up at 2, 3 in the morning super anxious. My brain would not shut off, and I just felt a couple steps before a panic attack, right? So that also seemed to happen with long-term high-dose usage, right? I later found out my dose is a lot lower than that, and then I should cycle it, and then, I never had a problem with Aniracetam again. So that's what I would say about that. Next question. What does 5-HT1A, that's a serotonin subtype receptor, have to do with testosterone? Okay, I don't exactly know yet, but that is a topic of extreme focus and extreme research for me pretty much every day of my life at this point. We know that derangement of the 5-HT1A serotonin receptor usually leads to sexual dysfunction. And for men, it's a lack of sensation. For females, the same thing. And then generally for males and females, it's a lack of libido. And essentially what we think is happening there is there's an autoreceptor at the 5-HT1A postsynaptic neuron that is getting desensitized from the agonism of the presynaptic 5-HT1A via an SSRI or, continuous high-dose ashwagandha or continuous high-dose L-theanine or something, right? To the point where the RAF nucleus stops producing serotonin and serotonin signaling, therefore stops functioning correctly. We're unsure if it's entirely too high serotonin or entirely too low serotonin or just a misfire in signaling, but definitely has to do that. As it relates to testosterone, there are downstream effects. There is a downstream pathway-based connection there. And we've got some good theories on what exactly it is, but it's still something I'm trying to pin down to the point of 100% being confident about it. But what I would say generally is, does 5-HT1A have to do with testosterone? Yes. Sorry, I can't give you any more details. Vitamin D quantity for testosterone for men. Good question. What I believe and what I found the most useful and what the studies say on it is on the low end 15,000 IU. People are like, low end 15,000? Yes, low end 15,000 IU of vitamin D a day. And on the high end, 25,000 IU of vitamin D a day. Sorry, my beard keeps hitting my nose and itching. That's why I do that, by the way. I guess I got to trim up here. I'll work on that. So that's what I would say. Yeah, 15 to 25,000 IU vitamin D a day. There's rare cases, I guess, where people take 10,000 to 15,000 IUs a day and their numbers jump entirely too high. It doesn't happen for most people. In fact, there's studies on that. Going above 60,000 IU is really past the tolerable amount for most people, where your numbers shoot up substantially high. I can get away with taking 20,000 IU a day and my numbers go high, 85, 90 nanograms per deciliter, but they don't go above that, which is like really cool. So that's what I would say about that. Psychological dependence on nootropics. What to do about it? Man, that is a good question. Okay. Well, I guess to put it simply, when you have a particular level of functioning, and then you reach via nootropics a new, better level of functioning, you don't want to go back, right? So therein lies the issue, or therein creates the potential issue of psychological dependence on nootropics. You're like, man, I don't want to function any worse than I am right now. I don't want to go back to where I was baseline. My memory's better, my focus is better, my verbal fluency is better, energy's better, motivation's better, all that. What one has to do, as you might imagine I'm going to say, is of course cycle off of nootropics 3 days a week, 4 days a week, sometimes take a week off, 2 weeks off, sometimes after heavy stints a month off. I've done that before, and I suggest that to people. But you sort of have to look at what other things you can do that specifically enhance your energy production and therefore keep your neurotransmitters function really awesomely. Right? So energy production is one thing. Really focusing on mitochondria, ATP, using red light therapy, infrared red light therapy to shine on particular parts of your body or brain, working out, sleeping well, meditating, eating well. And then the other part of that, and then also taking supplements. I mean, a lot of people's energy issues would be solved by either 1 or 2 B complexes a day, right? In addition to that, blood tests that identify everything and look at any deficiency in anything, whether it's a vitamin or hormone or something, or minerals, and then addressing those deficiencies right away. That alone is very, very powerful. A lot of people's issues can be attributed to just deficiencies in vitamins and minerals, right? And when you get blood tests and you see what's wrong, and then you, either through supplements or diet, try to fix that, and you actually see the numbers raised, you'd be surprised at how many things fix, and you get your energy back, and then you don't have to depend on nootropics for a particular level of brain function. At your best baseline, you won't be as good or as functional as you are when taking nootropics, but you can be pretty close, and that's what you need to focus on. The next thing about that, I guess just like many things, is just looking at dietary precursors to certain neurotransmitters. So if you want to have more dopamine, epinephrine, norepinephrine, which would make you motivated and alert, eat more bananas because bananas have L-tyrosine in them. If you want to have more choline available in the blood and thus the brain, eat more egg yolks and beef or fish because they produce that neurotransmitter. Okay. That's what I would say about that psychological dependence on nootropics. You just have to optimize the hell out of your baseline so that your baseline, you're like, okay, I can still function fine. I'm good. And if I want to bump above that, take nootropics. Pre or post workout meal, which is best? That's a good question, and usually depends on your body. But if I were to say, first of all, what works best for me is I go to the gym fasted, and then I eat a giant meal afterwards of every macro and as many micronutrients as I can. So it's a fat, carb, protein meal, preferably with a lot of minerals and vitamins and stuff in it. I just feel awesome if I do that. So you have to figure out what's best for you. Some people, and usually based on an impaired adrenal, testosterone, or thyroid hormone status, need to eat before they go to the gym to get the best workouts. There's also the case of, well, what kind of workout are you doing, right? If you are lifting heavy weights, usually it's a good idea to make sure you have carbs and protein in your body before you go to the gym. And it's also a good idea after you go to the gym to put carbs and protein in your body and fat as well. I don't lift weights right now. I have a lot in the past, so I have muscle memory. So a lot of the muscle is kind of just like still there. So I do HIIT. I'm just doing high intensity interval cardio essentially, and that is the best workout for me. I can go and fast it. I feel great, long as cortisol is good and high, not low. I have enough salt in my body, and I've got a B complex and sometimes a nootropic stack. I am awesome at the gym, and then thereafter post-workout meal. Glycine. We talked about this recently on kind of a singular video that I was doing driving in my car, but I'd like to talk about it again. And glycine, so the question is glycine like melatonin in that it knocks you out at nighttime, right? A lot of people talk about glycine as like a good strategy to get you to fall asleep and then get you to stay asleep and have restful sleep, wake up refreshed. The answer is no. Glycine is not like melatonin. I don't know, or like a Tylenol PM. Anything that you take that's gonna sedate you. In some cases, Aniracetam. It's not like that. It is it's almost like low dose paracetam and low dose choline. It's like a subtle improvement of a baseline. It's more like the process of drifting into sleep is better. This needs to stop doing that. The process of drifting into sleep is better. So your capacity to kind of quiet down your mind and just calm your whole nervous system down in a way that allows you to go to sleep is better. And then you tend to sleep a lot deeper when glycine is in the picture. And that's just because glycine, the supplement, or if in any other way you're binding to glycine receptors are activated, chloride enters the neuron, and it turns into an inhibitory response. So you're just inhibiting excessive neurotransmission. That's what you're doing when you're taking glycine. So yeah, not like melatonin, not like anything that's going to particularly knock you out, but inhibitory neurotransmission, which sets up the natural conditions for you to sleep really well. And by the way, the dose on glycine, a lot of people suggest like 2-3 grams. You really got to go 3.5 to 5 grams is what I would really say, going as high as you can go. 3.5 to 5 grams is the most optimal dose for most folks on glycine. That's what I figured out. Fastest way to drop weight. Fastest way to drop weight over the course of a 7-day period. Okay. The fastest way to drop weight over the course of a 7-day period is to do 2 24-hour fasts within that 7-day period. That's what I would say. So like, say you start on Sunday, your last meal on Sunday is 6 p.m. Fast all the way until Monday at 6 p.m. and then eat a big meal. Chances are you won't get all your calories then, so you'll even still lose weight in that regard. And then wait until, I guess, Saturday night, have your last meal. Eat regularly throughout the week, like eat maintenance. Don't eat below or above, just eat maintenance for the rest of the week. And then on Saturday, have your last meal at 6 p.m., fast all the way until Sunday 6 p.m., and then eat another big meal, which won't be your calories. You won't meet your maintenance calories. You'll probably be under, because you can't, you might not be able to eat 2,000 calories in a sitting. Or you can, and I'm underestimating you. And you'll be surprised how much body fat you lose is mobilized to be burned, and you'll lose 2 24-hour fasting periods in a 7-day period. That's what I would do. Best way to deal with tapering. Person doesn't ask, what they're tapering. I can't really answer that question. I mean, I guess, I don't know, it depends on what you're tapering. But I mean, tapering, tapering anything like a medication or something, you just have to, in small increments, go downward and downward and downward and downward and downward and downward and downward until you're eventually not taking the compound anymore. Executive consulting, do you guys mail stacks the whole time? Okay, good question. We've got 2 executive packages. These are primarily for business people, entrepreneurs, business owners, corporate folks, executives. And in those packages, we mail you the nootropic stacks that you're going to be taking. In the 3.5-month package, we mail them for you. We figure out which ones work in a 3 to 4 week experimentation period. Then after that, once we nail it down for a whole month, we mail you the stacks. Thereafter, we teach you how to get the stacks, make the stacks. We figure out a schedule for you, and you're good. For the 6-month package, we do that for 3 months. We figure out which stacks are going to work through experimentation, and then we actually ship you the stacks. You just take pills, take a couple capsules in the morning or in the afternoon. We do that for 3 months straight in those packages. The reason they're not the whole time is because essentially, look, I mean, if you're consulting me, sure, you can consult me for a year or 2 years or forever. That's fine. We can do an ongoing thing. But, you're going to want to learn on your own how to make stacks, formulate stacks, put nootropics in capsules, and kind of, roll from there. And so we teach you in those executive consulting packages how to do that after we do it for you for a considerable period of time in the beginning of the consult window. And by the way, those of you that are business people, executives, entrepreneurs, venture capitalists, go to livecortex.com. You'll see on the homepage the 2 packages we have for you for nootropics consulting and brain performance consulting. Pregnenolone steel, please explain. The whole thing is confusing to me. Great question. Basically, pregnenolone steel. So look, pregnenolone is a master hormone for adrenal hormones and sex hormones. That's what pregnenolone is. And pretty sure after you ingest cholesterol, that's part of what cholesterol does. Turns into pregnenolone and then has all these downstream effects. It can do a bunch of things. The pathway it chooses to go depends on your health. Okay? So if you're healthy, and in this case, normal cortisol levels, pregnenolone will then go to make DHEA and male sex hormones, female sex hormones, and adrenal hormones. If you are not healthy in relation to cortisol, meaning you're not making enough cortisol because the hypothalamus is messed up or the adrenal glands are not pumping out enough cortisol, which is usually related to the hypothalamus and the 5-HT1A serotonin receptor, then if you take pregnenolone or eat cholesterol, then instead of it turning into sex hormones and adrenal hormones, the body uses it just to make cortisol, because that's one of the other downstream things that pregnenolone will do is make cortisol. So the body's sort of preferentially using it to make cortisol because you're not making enough cortisol. That's what pregnenolone steel is. And steel refers to the fact that your body's need to make cortisol is stealing the pregnenolone to make cortisol from it making sex hormones and other adrenal hormones. That's why. That's what pregnenolone steals. And it actually is a real thing. This is a good question. Is the newer version of Paleo, which focuses on higher carb intake, better than the older version of Paleo? Absolutely yes. I really don't have a problem with Paleo as long as you eat carbs. As long as you're eating rice, sweet potatoes, yucca root, carrots, white potatoes, brown rice, quinoa, whatever kind of good solid carbohydrates that you can eat. I don't have an issue with that because, look, dairy, people can go their whole lives and not eat dairy. It's not particularly necessary. You get calcium in other ways, and you can get the full spectrum of amino acids in other ways too, like you would in milk, which is dairy. You could also just drink milk and get the full spectrum amino acids, or you could take a supplement. So yeah, look, old school paleo, like Rob Wolf paleo, kind of Jimmy Moore paleo. Yeah, and it's just like, let's just use those two folks. We really won't even talk about like Peter Attia and hardcore ketogenic stuff or old school Dave Asprey or something, but yeah, old school paleo was very, very low carbohydrate, and that got a lot, but also simultaneously, old school paleo was paradoxically or interestingly, also like pro CrossFit and pro heavy lifting and pro all that stuff, which just does not work with low carb. It'll never work. It could work for a period of time or something, but it's just like, whatever literature you've read, know yourself. And you're going to go to the gym, and after not eating carbs, you're going to lift weights, and your performance will fail. Do less reps. You're not going to reach your breakout point. You're not going to go over the reps that you normally do. So yeah, the new version of Paleo is a lot better than the old version of Paleo. I mean, I don't really mind avoiding dairy or avoiding like certain grains and legumes. No problem with that. As long as you're eating carbs, you're fine. Ryan, I'm a 50-year-old executive and I have lost focus over the course of the last 2 years. What should I do? Wow. Well, executive. Get one of the executive packages because we can help you. But, aside from that, I mean, you have to look at why you've lost focus. Listen, if you have a deficiency in anything in terms of brain performance, something is not balanced, right? Something is wrong. And it could be any number of things, man. I mean, it could be medication you're taking. It could be deficiency in certain neurotransmitters. It could be downregulation of certain neurotransmitter receptor sites. It could be your diet. It could be that you have a super hard workout routine. You're not eating enough because you're trying to lose weight or something. It's like you have to think about this kind of stuff. There's a sustainable way to lose weight, and then there's a totally non-sustainable, energy-sapping way to lose weight. So I would figure all that out first. I guess adding the advice that we gave prior on a prior question on psychological dependence and nootropics, you also should do a full blood panel of everything: hormones, vitamins, minerals. Find what's deficient, work to correct it. You'll get a lot of your energy and focus back from that. And then when you do that, you've got to take 4 to 8 baseline nootropic stacks, take them, adjust the stacks to perfection, and then set them aside in a schedule so that you can take them Monday through Thursday or Monday through Friday in a varied way that gets you good brain performance. So essentially now what you have is good functional baseline, where at baseline you function pretty good. And then you've got good working nootropic stacks that you can take that'll take you over that to perform at, I don't want to use the word excessive levels, like just better levels than your baseline so you can get more done in a day. That's what I would say. Ryan, I was thinking about doing the Viking testosterone protocol. How long does it take to raise testosterone? Great question. That's our service that we have for raising testosterone. It's a thing that I figured out because I had low test from a variety of things, and then figured out 9 very powerful things to raise testosterone. How long does it take? Well, you're looking at going from, say you're at 300 nanograms per deciliter total test. You're looking at going from 300 to 500 in like 2.5 to 3 months. Okay, keeping doing the protocol then. At month 5 or month 6, you're looking at having it up to like 650 to like 750. Continuing to do it thereafter and making sure your diet's right and everything else is right, and assuming there's nothing that's stopping testosterone production. You should peak around 800 or so if everything else is good and you're sleeping well and you're doing everything else right. And at that point, if you want to go higher, I mean, double the amount of some of the chemicals in the protocol, or double the time that you're using the infrared red light, because that's part of the testosterone protocol, and then kind of decide what you want to do from there. But most men get all their sex drive back and get their functionality back and get their masculinity back and build muscle easier and lose fat easier once they get to like 650 to 700 nanograms per deciliter total test. That's what I would say. Last question. I've been taking Cortex and it gets better every day. Is there a build-up period? Wow, that's weird. No, usually with the Cortex stack, it's just an acute effect, right? You feel awesome and have a lot of energy and have a lot of verbal fluency motivation within 30 minutes of taking it. However, for phospholipid synthesis and neuronal repair, the spawning of new neurons, your brain requires uridine and a choline source, which Cortex has in it. So if you're noticing a buildup, like if you're just like noticing you're functioning better as time goes as you take Cortex, that's probably because you're just building new neurons. Your brain is a lot more fluid. You're synthesizing more phosphatidylcholine, the structure of cell membranes, and therefore your brain is just generally more fluid. That's what I would say about that Cortex stack. Awesome stack for that. That is what we actually wanted to create, something acutely effective and also long-term effective. That's why I built Cortex. All right, everybody, that has been another Nootropics 20. Remember, yeah, buy a bottle of Cortex if you're interested in the Cortex stack. Just go do it at livecortex.com. 31 bucks, super cheap. Couldn't make it any easier. Powerful pre-made stack. If you need my help, we've got 3 different consulting packages. That's really what we focus on. A one-off, pretty simple 40-minute call, 15 follow-up email correspondences to kind of get you with some good stacks to start. That is our 40-minute call, and it's 75 bucks right now. If you are a business person or executive or entrepreneur, venture capitalist, and need longer, comprehensive, sustained consulting on brain performance and nootropics, where we formulate you stacks, send them to you, work with you. I'm always available for calls. You can call me at midnight if you have a question. We've got a 3.5-month executive business consulting, nootropics consulting package, and a 6-month package. If you really want sustained work and want to get the best out of it, get the 6-month package. If you're a guy, get the Viking Testosterone protocol and you need test. The special of the week is the Nootropics Masterclass is down to 69 bucks. Okay, we're taking $50 whole off the Nootropics Masterclass. Kind of unheard of right now. The coupon code is 69. Do that at livecortex.com for the Nootropics Masterclass video course of me explaining a lot of really valuable stack formulation, stack adjusting, inducing certain states on cue information about nootropics. The thing is just sick. You got to get the Masterclass. Coupon code is 69. That is the special of the week. And if you're recovering from SSRIs or benzo use and you're off of that stuff, but your brain is not in the right place, because it won't be. Receptor sites are still messed up, downregulated specifically. We know how to upregulate them and get them functioning normally so that you can have your life back. It's called Jumpstart Recovery. It is 2 calls with me, unlimited emails within that time frame to get your life back on track and your brain functioning normally. And get that at livecortex.com. Thank you so much for watching, everybody. Talk to you next time.